All righty, good afternoon. Go ahead and kick this meeting off. This is a meeting of the Budget Committee of the Crook County Road Agency. Today is Monday, May 18th, 2026, and the time is approximately 1:30. For the record, my name is Will Van Vactor, and I am the appointed budget officer for the road agency. The purpose of today's meeting is to receive the budget message, receive comments from the public on the proposed budget, and allow for budget committee deliberation on the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget. If you all don't mind, I'd like to just start with a quick round of introductions / roll call. So, Jerry, do you mind kicking us off?
I can't hear it.
On introductions.
Oh, Jerry Brummer.
All right, thank you.
Laura Hooper Antrim.
Brian Barney, Steve Forrester,
Russ DeBoot.
Casey Kaiser.
All righty, thank you very much.
and who are you again?
One more time, just for you, Steve. I have the pleasure of being your appointed budget officer here this afternoon. I can't promise that this won't be a dry presentation, but I'm hoping we can at least be efficient with the presentation of this year's fiscal year 27 budget for the road agency. First order of business is for the budget committee to appoint a chair and a vice chair for the budget committee meeting. So happy to open it up for nominations.
I move that Brian Barney is the chair. Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? All right, I'll go ahead and call for a quick vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Congratulations, Commissioner Barney. You are the
Thank you.
chair. Would you like to lead us through the nomination process for the vice chair? Or would you like me to?
You're on a roll.
I feel like it.
You're doing well.
All right, I'll open it up real quick for nominations to the vice chair.
I'll make a nomination that Lori Hooper Antrim be the vice chair.
Second.
All right, we have the first and second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. Lori is our vice chair. I think that concludes that piece of business. So unless there are any questions before we jump into the rest of the agenda for this afternoon, I will move on to the budget message. Questions, comments? All right, again, we're here today to review the proposed budget for fiscal year 27 for the Crook County Road Agency. During fiscal year 2026, the road agency did receive 2 secure rural school payments as a result of the reauthorization of the Secure Rural Schools Act in December 2025. This includes retroactive payments for 2024 and a payment for 2025. Those payments totaled approximately $1,505,000. In addition to those payments, the road agency anticipates receiving approximately $750,000 in fiscal year 27. That will be a payment for 2026. So this year's budget, unlike the budget that we presented last year, actually has a beginning fund balance because of those 2 payments of little over $1.5 million, which will be carried forward into fiscal year 27. And with the anticipated payment of $750,000 for that third SRS payment, we are budgeting $2,263,000. As you will see in the proposed budget, we are appropriating $10,000 for materials and services for things like insurance, audits, publishing, and financial statement preparation, and $1,505,000 is appropriated as a special payment to the Crook County Road Department for use on Crook County roads. The remaining $748,000 will be held in contingency. This year's proposed budget for fiscal year 27 reflects the agency's continued role in receiving and administering SRS revenues for road purposes while maintaining sufficient resources for required agency operations and compliance with Oregon budget law. With that, that kind of concludes my budget message. I'm happy to answer any questions before we move on to the proposed budget. May have hit all the highlights in this presentation on the proposed budget with my budget message this year. But I'm happy to answer any questions about the road agency or the proposed budget.
Just a real curiosity question on the 10 grand, I call it admin fee. Is that just an arbitrary number or are you guys, doing like a percentage charge by department or by, fund? Gotcha. Okay. So it's not admin fee, it's insurance and audit. Okay. Admin costs, but not, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
there's no admin.
Okay. Just curious. Thank you.
And assuming the chair is okay with it, I will turn it over to Christina Heron to present the proposed budget.
Please.
This is gonna feel like deja vu to everyone, so hang in there. As a reminder, the road agency was created in 2023 to receive and distribute secure rural schools Title I funding for roads. During fiscal year 2026, the road agency received 2 Title I SRS payments due to the reauthorization of the Secure Rural Schools Act in December of 2025 and the retroactive payment of the missed 2024 our fiscal year 2025 payment. These payments totaled $1,505,000, and the act is reauthorized through fiscal year 2027. The SRS funds received during the 2027 fiscal year will follow the past practice and be held in contingency until the following fiscal year 2028. Interest earned remains in the fund to pay expenditures such as insurance, financial statement preparation, and audit. Those Will already talked about. We anticipate to receive $750,000 of Title I SRS funding in fiscal year 27. And we will roll over an anticipated fund balance of $1,510,000 from fiscal year 2026. In fiscal year 27, this proposed budget appropriates $10,000 for materials and services. These are for insurance, audit, publishing, and financial statement preparation. It also includes a payment for special district membership to AOC. Special payments of $1,505,000 will be appropriated for the Crook County Road Department for use on county roads. And then the remaining fund balance of $748,000 would be appropriated in contingency under this proposed budget. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Ready?
One note that we have some opportunity on is past practice was to transfer funds immediately on the new fiscal year. That's why there's very small interest earnings under miscellaneous. There is the opportunity to wait to transfer funds to the road department depending upon cash flow needs. That could be considered today, and we could update the budget if you wanted to see those funds sit there and earn more interest revenue for the road agency itself.
So as you move forward in time, would there be the 748 that we're going to put in contingency? Will we try to maintain that? Is there a calculation for that or?
So typically we try to roll forward to the road department what we received in
Right.
SRS funds, but because we didn't earn much interest last year and aren't anticipating much interest this year, it doesn't cover all of those extra administrative costs.
Okay.
That's the difference between the 750 expected and the 748 that we're looking at.
But again, from reserve, I guess when I'm thinking contingency, maybe I'm thinking reserve, but are you going to try to keep a fund balance
This budget does not keep a fund balance other than what's being held, the current SRS payment to be transferred the next year.
Okay,
So it does, but doesn't.
I understand.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
So doesn't really make sense in this case to, if you get it, spend it, right?
Well, that's obviously
Yeah.
if you want to change that as part of the committee.
No,
you're
no, I
welcome to,
don't.
But that
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
we've been doing.
yeah.
Christina, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're kind of suggesting in terms of holding the, the funds until kind of cash flow dictates it is if we can earn enough interest, we can cover those materials and services costs, right? With the interest earned instead of having to pull it out of whatever revenue we get for SRS
Right.
funds. So that's,
Yeah.
that's one way we can kind of ensure all of those dollars are going to the road projects, not
Yeah.
covering some of those necessary agency costs.
You guys have an idea on, Christine, from a strategy on like when the road district needs the funds? Cause I mean, certainly earning free money is a great idea, right? But obviously I don't have any sort of operational understanding on when they need the funds. And so I assume you guys have that strategy with Brad and
Historically, we've provided them as soon as possible at the beginning of the year because the road department has needed the
need it.
cash.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But Brad is, you have an idea of where your cash flow sits, where it would be, if you need those immediately.
Primarily, most of our bigger projects start after the first of the year. We're winding down in the fall, summer. We've already got our resources now to get this year going. So after the first of the year would be probably when we'd be cash.
And then again, my experience is, I know this isn't necessarily a fund transfer within an agency, but we at the fire district can really make those at any time throughout the year, depending on what comes up. And so again, I assume the road agency board would be the ones to decide when the payment could be made. But I see the value in earning interest if you can.
Yeah.
Yep. The one impact that it would have for the decision today would be if you want to anticipate additional interest that would be included in the budget and set in contingency, which if we're not going to utilize it, it doesn't really matter. We can earn as much interest as the board would like.
View that as bonus money for next year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
So do we need direction? Do you need direction?
I think as far as earning interest versus transferring money.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine there's a couple options. We can either direct us to come back kind of in line with what Brad suggested. We can have a meeting of the road agency either later this calendar year, or early next year to authorize that. Or I think if you pass the budget, I think historically we've just had the flexibility to transfer right away. So I don't know that we have to come back for another meeting. If there's a preferred kind of strategy that you'd like to employ, I would suggest you direct staff kind of to do so, but I don't think it needs to be specific in the motion passing proposed budget for 2027.
At this point, the only thing you would need to decide if it affects the budget today, if you want to see additional interest included in the budget.
Well, I don't think there's a need to draw the committee to make any other choices any further. So,
Authorize staff to.
yeah, just authorize the staff to.
And you could do it at the next meeting where the road agency approves the budget as well.
If there are no other questions on the proposed budget, as we next on the agenda is public comment.
Anybody online? Nope.
No one.
And there's no public here, so done that. Discussion continues. Budget committee discussion and decisions. The chair, so
Pretty much you.
lay it out, guys. Ladies,
Budget as presented and with the caveat that I would be in support of them keeping that money and earning interest on that money for as long as possible up until it's needed. So however that needs to be structured.
okay,
I think what I'm hearing is we pass the budget as proposed, then that, I think what I heard was that give you guys the flexibility of when to make that transfer. Is that right, Christina?
Yes, because the transfer next year doesn't rely on those funds. Like Russ said, they're just kind of a bonus and they would be appropriated for fiscal year 28. They can't just sit there and earn interest if that's what you would like, and then wait to be.
Which is what you've been doing, what you plan on doing.
We've typically transferred the funds as right on 7/1 on July 1st. That's why there's not much interest in there, but if the board at the next meeting decides that they want to direct staff to look at cash flow and do it based on the road department's cash flow and maximize interest earnings.
Yeah, as a budget committee member, I agree. I think the budget looks sound and would be comfortable moving forward. And then I think the staff and the road agency board and Brad can decide when it's best to transfer the funds based on need and benefit, and any extra bonus interest we'll see next year, and we can appropriate it if we need. So that'd be kind of my.
That's what I.
Yeah.
so we have a motion. Are you a second?
I'll be a second. Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none?
Are you clear, Will?
If you're ready to pass the budget, we do have an official motion that
Oh,
will
no.
have whoever makes it read. So
Okay, so if there's no changes to the proposed budget, motion could be, I move that the Budget Committee of Crook County Road Agency, Crook County, Oregon, approve the budget as proposed for the 2026-27 fiscal year in the amount of $2,263,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
I know.
You guys gotta learn how to do this right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
saw it from you.
Eddie,
Well, anything else?
the last thing on the agenda is adjourn.
I see that. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there,
I'll second that.
there is a second? Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Move.